What is going on, everyone? Wait one sec. I am Jack Allen. I just had to do that real quick because, the show is about feminism. So, welcome. What's going on, everybody? I am Jack Allen from Conspiracy or Just a Coincidence. First, thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Hopefully, you guys are having a good week. It's been a while since I did my just a show with just me. So, I'm excited to do it. I've been working on this book for a while, and I got another awesome one coming up. Oh, it's called The History of the Central Banking or something like that. And yeah, sick. But this show's sick too. I'm just so excited. I'm reading that one and loving it, dude. Napoleon, who I still need to learn more about, sounds like a total badass. Oh my God, dude. He was just awesome, dude. Awesome. And I've heard maybe he's a Freemason and stuff, and then he got too powerful. But regardless, dude, awesome guy. Hated bankers, hated them. Said it was all these awesome quotes. But anyway, I'm sorry. I'm getting off topic. First, go follow me at Kojak Podcast. I'm just tweeting this out. Come join me to learn about the hoax that is feminism. That is feminism. Oh man, I don't know if that. Well, Twitter's got new rules, so all right. So yeah, so go follow me at Kojak Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. You want to support the show? I got a Patreon, Conspiracy or Just a Coincidence, and I have all the links in my show notes and Linktree. And I have a Venmo as well. I always say this, and it's probably so annoying to people that listen to from start to finish, but I totally get it. It's a crazy world. Inflation's hitting. Food costs me, oh my God. And I eat a lot because trying to be huge, but it cost us like $180, and all I buy is like a family pack of chicken, family pack of ground beef, and fruit and some veggies. It's like $180. It's insane. But yeah, so if you can't support the show, I get it. I totally get it. Could you leave a review though? That means so much to me. I love reading the reviews, and a lot of you guys have left beautiful, poetic, kind reviews that I read myself to go to sleep at night. Brian, what's up, my man? Thanks for always coming, Brian. Always nice to. The internet, guys, it brings a lot of sadness, but it also brings awesome people. Like I have met so many awesome people here. So anyway, first, if I do current event, I get stuck. Like I already got 17 pages of notes because we're going to rock this out in one show. So hopefully you're comfortable because it's going to be a long one. But Elon Musk obviously purchased Twitter. The world saved. This billionaire cares about you guys. He cares about free speech. He doesn't want to propagandize you. Sure, he's a billionaire. Sure, he loves you. He loves you guys. All right. Anybody that tells you differently, they're lying. He wants to live your best life. And that's all that is to him. He's a billionaire. He's Bruce Wayne. This is sarcasm. This is me being facetious. If you're new to the show, Elon, I would love if Twitter got less censored. But if we've learned anything, conspiracy, to one of the quotes, I think it was, man, who said this quote? I can't remember, but the quote was, if it wasn't a big conspiracy, eventually we would win one once in a while. And this seems like a win, right? This seems like a win. I guess time will tell. I don't believe it's a win. I would love, dude, I lost my Twitter account. As you guys know, so I have to tweet on my phone. And I'm about to go live on Twitter again without a VPN. So we'll test it out. But I don't know where it goes. I don't really care that much. I don't see it going in a great direction. Like with Elon, something's going to happen. It's too good to be true, right? Like this guy who's free speech, who's not woke, he's going to be they're calling a white supremacist. It's just like a Donald Trump division, divide, baby. Because when you divide, you get put in camps, and then they know even better how you're going to respond, all these things like that. But anyway, who knows? Time will tell. I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times in my life, many times. So that's the big news, right? That's the big news. So feminism. All right. So today's book, it's a cruel hoax. Feminism, a cruel hoax. And just an interesting statistic before we get started. Right now, the average age of marriage is 32 years old. I'm 31. My wife or fiance, when we get married in July, she is 24. So a little bit younger. Brian, I don't know. I'm sorry, dude. But I never give out my phone, but I'm sure he'll be here. Hopefully. I have his email though, Brian. I'll give that to you. So yeah, so 32 is the average marriage rate. In 2010, the average age to get married, 27. That was only 11 years ago. And the average was 5 years earlier. 1950. Men 22, women 20. Wow. Clearly, there's something positive, I would say, and I think I wonder what age most of the listeners got married. I'd love to know. Love to do like our own little poll, but I'd love to know when, or clearly in my mind, the 1950s were a much better time in America. So there's so many things that have changed differently, but there's something with getting married early, having kids. You're in the most fertile time of your life. Less pregnancy issues, you're a younger parent. My parents they were remarried when they had me. So my dad's a little bit older, my mom's a little bit older, and my dad he's still in shape. He still kicks butt. He listens, but you can see the benefits of having a family younger and starting younger. And back in those days, and now, so the excuse today would be like, oh, well, you're young, you don't know who you love, you're going to get divorced. Yeah, because of feminism and propaganda, dude. That's why. Back then, like, dude, think of all the arranged marriages. And sure, there are outliers, there are abusive husbands, there are crazy women, but they work, because marriage isn't about like this fairy tale Disney story. I love my wife or my fiance more than anything in this world. I love her so much. She is amazing. But we work to love each other, right? And I'm sure many of you that are listening that are in committed relationships, there's fights, there's disagreements. That's totally normal. But people, because of propaganda, they think that they won't marry until this person that they never fight, or they've never had a disagreement or an issue. That's not real, dude. The fights, and as long as they're not like crazy fights, I know I don't have any crazy people. What's up, Barbara? Thanks for coming. But it's work, right? So I blame this on feminism, and we're going to go over why and how this was created, who started modern feminism. Let me clarify, not like the right to vote and things like that. And also, this is just, I try to not put my bias in it. People, it's, I'm trying to like word this carefully. The traditional roles of men and women, they're not perfect, right? There were issues, and that's what they do. What's up, David? Thank you, dude. But there were issues with them, right? Like men, like my dad's sisters weren't allowed to go to college because my grandfather didn't believe women should go to college. So this is what they do. So I don't think that's right at all. I think you should be able to, if you are a woman, you want to be a business person or whatever you want to do, you want to go to college, great, do it. But what the issue comes, and that's, everyone can get on board with that. That's why the modern feminism started after the 50s, because they're like, women should be able to open a bank account. They should be able to drive a car. Yes, yes, right? They should be able to vote. Yes, all these things. But so that everyone gets behind that, right? Everyone gets behind that. But what happens is, just like Social Security, just like progressiveness, it's a Trojan horse. Behind it is all the crap that you're like, where did this come from? Kind of like gay marriage. That came out, I think in 2008, it was still illegal, because I remember Joe Biden saying that marriage was between a man and a woman. Crazy. That was 12 years ago. But so people were like, hey, homosexuals said, hey, we want to get married. Okay. Religiously, whatever. But who am I to stop what makes you happy? You want to be married. You want to get the tax breaks, or whatever the reason is that you want to do that. Fine. Well, what happens after that? We see this. So this is exactly what happened to feminism. And just my conclusion, I think there was multiple reasons why, we'll do those later, why this was such a push. But let's start. So modern feminism, right? So we're talking about like the 1950s. We got the picket fence, we got the dress with the apron, the cooking mom that's there for kids when they come home from school. She does it all, dude. She is one of the most important people if not the most in our society. She is raising these kids. The dad's at work. He comes home, food ready, house clean, all this stuff because of this, that she is the glue that holds the family together. A rewarding career, right? And maybe they weren't honored. I wasn't alive in the 50s, but I respect stay-at-home mom. I respect any parent that can focus on their kids and homeschooling, all these things. Super respectable, right? But people started hammering. So Betty Friedan Goldstein, she is the founder of modern feminism. And she pretends to be this typical 1950s mom. Here, let me pull up a photo of Betty Goldstein here so we can put a name to the face. Here she is. All right. Oh, and she's a looker. As always, their soul is devoid of any happiness and love and comfort. So yeah, this is what she looks like. And that's an old new photo. Let's go to an old photo. Yeah, that's exactly how you would expect it to look. Or to look for people listening. Not good looking. Okay. So Betty Freeman Goldstein was the creator. So she had this revelation that moms were being exploited and should seek independence and careers. Oh, okay, great. Great. So of course she didn't bring up, and this was what was key. This is what's huge. You're going to see this pattern the whole show. She left, she was, I'm championing women's rights, baby. Oh, that's great. That's really nice of you. Didn't bring up that she's a communist propagandist since 1938 at Smith College. Sure, totally irrelevant that Marxists and communists had the same goal of destruction of the family unit. And for evidence of that, you can look at the Communist Manifesto in 1848, where it talks about the destruction of the family unit. Oh, so weird that feminism has the same goal. And we're going to find out why. She didn't get her degree. She dropped out to be a reporter for CNS, Communist News Service. Not to be confused with CNN. CNS, actually probably the same thing, right? Same thing. And this group had a sharp decline in 1947 after Congress targeted that organization. So funny enough, this group, this CNS, this Communist News Service, it had that was the news source of United Electrical and all these communist workers groups that were fighting for workers' rights. And again, this is how they do it. They say these people deserve to be paid fairly. They deserve to have health insurance. They deserve to whatever. People say, yeah, I agree. I totally agree. But then they Trojan horse what they really want in. So this group was a workers group until these groups are purely workers groups, just better like a union, you would think, until a small communist minority, as always, took power of the group and changed directions. Betty got called out by a professor. She said he was red baiting. It's history rhymes and repeats. Red baiting. What would you, if you said someone today, you're a socialist, obviously you're having, you have a different dog in this fight. They would say, you're a sexist. You're a homophobe. You hate people with blue hair. That's what they do. So he was red baiting. And her book, Feminist Mystique, sold over 5 million copies. And she knew that if it came out she was a communist, it wouldn't have sold 5 million copies. And that's because in 1950s, as we know, communism, there was the Red Scare, et cetera, et cetera. So a similar tactic of ensnaring movements and well-meaning people is used by the Masons, other secret groups. Hey, we care about workers. Why don't you join our group? We're going to fight against these evil bankers and evil CEOs and landlords. Well, it's a lie. It's a lie. Just like our Green New Deal, we need to clean up the environment. Okay. But we're going to clean up the environment by taxing the shit out of you. And so if you're a middle class, well, dude, we're going to monitor how many miles you drive. Oh, you're hurting you're eating meat. Government tax, dude. Don't you want to see the world get better? So these are the things they do. And you know that. So she was a Lenin follower. Oh, a Lenin follower, Musenberg. They did this in the 20s and 30s. They created innocent clubs and they changed the direction, or once you get in, it's a cult. It's like a cult. Frederick Engels said the condition of the liberation of the wife is to bring the whole female sex back into the public industry And this in turn demands the abolition of monogamous family as the economic unit of society. And that was Frederick Engels who said that lovely quote that sounds like it's going to be perfect. So Betty, this lady that we got up, Betty started Popular Front. And this is the same type of innocent club that Engels talked about, that Engels talked about, Lenin's protege or close follower. And in the 1950s, it disbanded after the U.S. government said it had to register as a foreign agent, back when maybe the American government had a few honest people in it. Of course, again, history, it's just, God, it makes you want to shake somebody, right? Our FBI got involved for her innocent groups. If she has, the FBI wouldn't be, the FBI is going to stand up against communism, right? J. Edgar Hoover, the cross-dresser, the guy, the closeted homosexual, he's going to fight communism. Well, they did an investigation on her innocent groups. Do you think he found any wrongdoing? No. Do you think the FBI goes after any communists these days? No, they go after conservative, traditional, predominantly Caucasian men and women, grandmas that are in or in the Capitol. I just found that hilarious that even in the 50s, the FBI was investigating a communist group. They found no wrongdoings. What's up, Kevin, my man? I know, Brian. He said the FBI, LOL. Isn't that hilarious, though? In the 50s, because the honest politicians said, this group is like working very closely with the Soviet Union, this Betty's group. We needed them to register as a foreign agent. They're propagandizing people. The FBI says, no, we can't see it. See nothing wrong. No, David, I'm not surprised. You're right. But it's just crazy, right? In the 50s, you think America has still some values, but no. They were looking for bombs, so the FBI said they were looking for weapons and bombs and violence, not ideas that would shatter, education, families, polarizing American society. That's okay if they're doing it. No. The other side of the spectrum, no. That is not okay. And it encouraged Betty's little groups encouraged women to pursue sex. Oh, where did that end up? I don't know. Massive amounts of pornography, massive amounts of women selling their bodies on OnlyFans. And for any of my older listeners, like my dad probably wouldn't know what OnlyFans is. OnlyFans is a website, or it's like a Twitter or Facebook, where you have an account. If you're a content creator, you take pictures and videos and chat with your subscribers, oftentimes naked, or doing sex, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what Betty was encouraging, for the betterment of women. That's good, right? That's definitely the positive for women. So then another character we have, let's pull up my little, Barbara, I was not sick. I don't know. Did I sound sick, Barbara? Oh God, I hope not. I think I only did one show that I was working on notes and just not working hard enough doing my notes. All right, Gloria Steinem. This is our next lady of modern feminism, Gloria Steinem. Now, she's not as horrible looking as Betty, but Gloria Steinem in the 60s, the mainstream media created the second wave of feminism as a part of their New World Order. Gloria, before leading the second wave feminism movement, had a totally normal career like you or me, guys. Totally normal career, this lady. Gloria was working for the CIA, spying on Marxist students in Europe. Became a media darling. The CIA, her employer, just like you and me, she's got a job, dude, a desk. She's got a boss that rides her. She's got TPS reports to fill out. Josh will maybe like that joke. TPS reports. But yeah, the CIA said, you're doing such a good job being a spy for us, Gloria. Why don't we start a magazine? Oh, Barbara, I did have food poisoning. That was like 2 weeks ago, but I did not throw up. But I haven't thrown up in over 20 years. It's a record. I held it down. But yes, so the CIA funded her magazine, it's called MS Magazine. And the information at that time tried to be published by a radical feminist group, Red Stockings. But the CIA does not go down lightly. So some radical real feminist group was trying to out Gloria for being a CIA agent. But as we know, that didn't work out. especially in the 50s without the internet. Good luck. Catherine Graham of Washington Post magazine, Ford Foundation, President Franklin Thomas prevented Random House from publishing the information in a book, Feminist Revolution. So they stopped him again. So Washington Post running cover for a communist. Wild. I'm sure that's super crazy. Steinem attended where? Smith College, the same place that Betty Goldstein did. Wow. What are you want to know how many people go to Smith College, everybody? Their total I think right now is like 1,100 students. What are the odds that two of the leading figures of feminism go to the same college? Oh, is that all who went to Smith College? No. George Bush's senior's wife also attended Smith College, but he's a Republican. And this is a school in Massachusetts, super left-leaning, super progressive. Obviously, if these two ladies went to it, George Bush's senior's wife also went to it, Barbara, right? It's just funny. So she was recruited at Smith College by the CIA to lead these few left-wing groups trying to get intellectuals at college. It was called Chic Left, not communism. Chic Left. What does that sound like to you today? What does that sound like? That sounds like to me like social justice, or it does. They don't call them socialists. They call them whatever, Democrat. I don't know. You understand what I'm saying? They brand it so it's not communism. She would help provoke riots in Europe by infiltrating groups. Nice. So Gloria, her magazine was funded. The mainstream media establishment, they hated feminism. They wanted you to have a good family unit. They hated it so much that Warner Communications, one of the top 6 hugest, media companies, helped publish the magazine. The one lady that worked at Warner Communications, Elizabeth Harris, she was another CIA-connected PR executive who planned John F. Kennedy's motorcade route. So Gloria Steinem's magazine, funded by Warner Communications, Elizabeth Harris, who also planned JFK's motorcade route. Oh, I'm sure the CIA, that is the common thread there that connects all those 3 things. It means nothing. It means nothing. Stop thinking about it. Despite the anti-establishment image, MS Magazine attracted advertising from the top companies. Whoa, I can't believe corporations and companies are funding a magazine that's against them. Oh my God. They're so scared. Just like the hippie music. Was it played on every nationally syndicated radio? Yeah, but they didn't want you listening to, guys. They did not want you to be a hippie. They did not want you to be all drugged out. No. That's not good for America. It's just so funny, dude. Like how these people that are in these movements, these woke movements, can't see that they are being propped up by the establishment that they're fighting. It's they don't want to see it. They think they're lost. They find a group. It's a cult. That's their friends. They don't have any family anymore because they just yelled at everybody for not being woke enough and microaggressions. Oh my God. Liv, my lovely wife, she's a nurse, and she just got an email. She sent to me and she asked me if I wanted to put it, but I didn't want to blank stuff out. She's taking a class on microaggressions for nursing. And the questions that she showed me were ridiculous. They were the things we see on Twitter. So she has to be, as a nurse, she not only she just has to save your life. She's in the ICU. She also needs to make sure that those patients that are knocked out, she better not be doing any microaggressions or she is going to be in trouble. What's up, DDXY2K? My man, thanks for coming. And David says, Rage Against the Machine. Dude, I'm sorry. I know who that is, but I know they're like super establishment, even being against the establishment, but that's all so I'm sure that you are meaning something like that's what they did, I think, but I'm sorry. I'm uninformed, David. I'm a bum. So yeah, but so just like I said, Amazon and gas companies, they talk about, oh, we're going green, carbon neutral, baby. You think it's for the health of the earth? They don't give a F about why are they flying on private jets then? No. It's so they can tax, regulate, monopolize, and dominate. Not any new competitor. Ooh, you're breaking environmental laws there, buddy. Looks like you're going to pay a fine. I'm going to go out of business. Well, sorry, it's for the earth. MS published ads for ITT. The same time, Pinochet was torturing political prisoners in Chile after the ITT CIA inspired coup. You know, I thought I'd remember what ITT stand for. I don't. So I'm imagining it's something that's helped funding the coup in Chile. And just like and here's another kicker about Miss Gloria Steinem, this lovely lady here. Just like the BLM movement, Steinem had a 9-year relationship with Nixon and Ford Assistant Attorney General. Oh, she's so anti-establishment. She's married or highly in a serious relationship with the Assistant Attorney General of a Republican administration. That makes sense. Oh yeah, she's so woke. This reminds me of AOC. This reminds me of Ilhan Omar. You know, white supremacy, cis white males have ruined this planet. What's their boyfriends look like? Oh, they're white guys. Right. Okay. So you just say shit because that's what you do. And I don't need to explain this to you, but oh my God, I almost missed that. So the Assistant Attorney General, Gloria Steinem, also stalled FBI investigations into the MLK assassination, doing his job. Good. And get this, in 1980, this lady dated one of my favorite people, Henry Kissinger. A radical feminist dated Henry Kissinger. It's exhausting. Is it all exhausting? David says, does anyone else notice that with a lot of these movements, even from the 50s, are very much alike in destroying the family environment? All of them, dude, right? It's just the same. It's just like they chip away. They get that little inch, they take more. They hit a wall, break that wall, keep going. So Gloria Steinem, CIA, dates a high up guy, dates Henry Kissinger. But this misconception that our security state or the apparatuses serve U.S. interests, the FBI and the CIA, no. It's the banker's private military, the banker's private propaganda. It's funded, as you guys all know, CIA funded by Rockefeller, gave them $100 million, I think, when they started in 47. They also, all the people they hired in the CIA, the higher ups, were all Ivy League, skull and bones types of people. So pushing feminism by the CIA mainstream media isn't shocking. Mockingbird Media, we always talk about that. CIA, hundreds of news people on their payroll. So if they're funding people like Gloria Steinem, you would imagine they're journalists, they're reporters from the Operation Mockingbird are going to put their line in line, or their step in step. What's hand in hand? I don't know. They're all working the same. They're all beating to the same drum. And just like the 60s hippies, civil rights, anti-war, all CIA directed. And in 47, CIA set up the National Student Association. 1950, shockingly, the NSA stopped. In 1950, the National Student Association, which the CIA set up to propagandize college kids, stopped an attempt at the Un-American Activities Act to root out all commies and commie spies at college campuses. They stopped it. Now, again, this is all you need to say to people that believe the CIA is good. If the CIA funded this group, we're in the Cold War, we're about to really ramp it up, Soviets are our enemy, why would the CIA funded group stop an investigation into communist spies and communists on college campuses that are propagandizing students? We're spending millions and billions of dollars fighting communism with weapons and bases and building up arsenals, but we allow it to fester on college campuses? Huh, that's weird. And I know we're talking communism now. It's all feminism comes out of communist movement, and we'll make that connection soon. So we've talked extensively about the CIA role in drugs, prostitution, but the biggest plan that they were about was dividing America. Demoralizing, alienating, dividing Americans, fostering conflict. This was the first multi-class divide. And now we are working on the race divide. So they knocked the class divide out, right? Now we're on races and genders differences. They just need to divide us as much as humanly possible. Feminism was pushed relentlessly by the likes of people like Rosie O'Donnell, love her, Ellen and emasculating males, helping lose them among the chaos. And I want to say this, Josh is a real man in the chat. He can build stuff. That's the stuff they want to say is evil to you. That he can, he's outside working on his car. That's toxic. That's what they say. I lack all this. I'm a pussy compared to Josh. Oh, I'm saying bad words tonight. I apologize. But they demonize this type of, as you guys know, you're on social media. So Rosie O'Donnell, that lovely woman, and other powerful females, they push women into the workforce. They said that, which created children that are being parented by two overworked people, clouding their roles, sowing resentment and anger. All of this was propaganda to take down the cultural fabric that made America so strong to introduce our new dad, government, and then the NWO. In the 50s, the author's mom had her own business, Gloria Steinem, and her, anyway, that was pointless. I already talked about how my grandfather wouldn't allow my aunts to go to college. And again, I don't agree with these strict defined rules. Like, you have to do this. If anyone tells me I have to do something, I do the opposite. That's exactly why I started doing heroin. Everyone said, I remember they were like, don't do drugs. And I was like, why are you, I'm going to do them then. Why? Don't tell me that. But that's what they, so the point I'm making is these roles, they just need to be not propagandized as evil. Should be encouraged and rewarded. Like, wow, you are an amazing woman. You created a human, 3 humans, whatever, and you raised them. That should be on the TV, not or share time with the same woman that's, making huge jumps and steps in the business world. That's glamorized. That's great. People want to do that. Good for them. But it should also be glamorized, the mom that is the bedrock of families. Red feminism. Ooh, that's the next chapter. So rape is an expression of male supremacy, the age-old economic, political, and cultural exploitation of women by men. Is this part of the feminist movement? Sounds like that came out right out of a feminist pamphlet, right? Exploitation of women by men. No. Do you know where that quote's actually from? The 1948 Communist Party pamphlet. This is why I say communism and feminism they're the same bird. Ideas and traditions from the commie movement in the 40s and 50s, they got rebranded into feminism. There's many more quotes that are exact, like you would think, oh, that's definitely a feminist quote. No, it's from communist propaganda. And you don't want to hear me read. I don't have a beautiful voice like some of the guests. I'm trying to think who's got a real good voice. I like Billy Ray's voice and lots of people. But anyway, it is direct outgrowth of the commie movement. Many second wave feminism were red diaper babies, aka they were children of communists. So the communists of the 40s, 50s, they had kids. They raised them to be woke. They became the leaders of the next feminist movement. We see that today. The same parent, so imagine Dave Rubin, a conservative. Oh, he's a bad example. I can't think of an example really right now, but you guys understand. If you're woke, you're going to raise your kids woke, and either kids rebels or they agree with you. And they take it further. In the 1940s, Communist Party, CPUSA, Communist Party, United States, shockingly discovered that the labor movement, workers of, blue collar workers did not like communism. So they had to find a new, that was their base. They were the Workers' Party, and working people, just like today, how blue collar people are like, they're Republican, they vote conservative, but they're working class. It's a lie. So the CPUSA, they needed a new block of people. Who did they choose? Well, they need a minority group. They need somebody that they can fill up their ranks. They chose the African-American community and women. Women made up 40%. Thanks, Josh. Josh says my voice is great. Very kind of you. Anyway, you're making me blush, buddy. But women made up 40% of the communist movement. 40%. That's weird, right? In a time when most women are housewives, they vote what their husband tells them to vote. They believe what their husband believes, at least, out in the open, maybe privately they did not. But 40% of the movement. And women at this time, they're getting political, but they weren't that was a rarity. So party would order men who didn't take women This was great. It's today. It's literally what we're doing today. The Communist Party would order men who didn't take the women questioningly belief seriously, like the feminist agenda they're pushing. They would undergo some lovely re-education. And this was in the 40s and 50s. Movie Salt of the Earth came out showing the wife leading a labor strike at her husband's factory. And now this is not inherently bad, but this was the beginning of the propaganda. So now you have young girls seeing like, oh, that's what I want to be. I want to lead a strike. I want to be in the forefront of the political arena. And again, if that's what you want, you do it. But there's no propaganda or depiction of the alternative. They think that this is what they have to do to be happy, which is oftentimes a lie. So this was the catalyst, that movie, Salt of the Earth, of a strong, assertive woman in the communist press and mass media of today. And just some more evidence that feminism has its roots in the Marxist communism. Women movement hates femininity. Women's movement also embraces equality of race and class. Want a revolution or a transformation of a messianic vision, a genderless utopia. That's Marxist communism. That's what feminism has. A human nature is malleable and can be shaped by indoctrination or coercion. You always love to hear that human nature is malleable by the people that are controlling your world. Engage in endless theorizing, doctrinal disputes, and factionalism. Do we have that today? Obviously we do. Truth is a social construct. These were written, again, they're pulled from like the 40s and 50s feminist pamphlets. Truth is a social contract. Reject God. That was one of the things. Isn't that hilarious? What do we have today in 2020? It's like their plan worked. Truth is totally, it means nothing. It means nothing. You could present evidence, as you guys know, people won't believe it. They don't care. They say, rock on, Ukraine, keep killing those dirty Russians. And then you say, well, hey, did you know that the Ukrainian has a pretty big, large neo-Nazi population? Oh, no. You're misunderstood. It's just a few, or no, it's just a different, you don't get the scenario. But here, neo-Nazis and white supremacists are everywhere, and they're ruining the world. You see, so communism, they're very good at manipulating the truth or lying about the truth. So it's hard to doubt that feminism was created purely for women's rights. Sounds like more they failed at this Communist Party, so they're just rebranding to me. But no, I'm sure they care. They want you women, my lady listeners, to be happy and fulfilled. You're not fulfilled if you are a mom who has children and raises them. No, that's not fulfilling. Even crazier, the term politically correct. This was correct. Politically correct. That term that I hear every day that silences me because I can't say how I truly feel because I have to be politically correct because people will hunt me down. It originated where? In the Russian Communist Party in the 20s. Another innocuous change people can get behind is the Trojan horse. Like, I don't know, but you ever notice how feminists, they push the current and all wokies push the NWO agenda ideas? No borders, no human is illegal. Guys, I want to shake when people are like, borders are bad. Wah. Dude, they're doing that. I want to shake them. What do you think happens if you so you have a population, so many jobs, so many houses, and then you let in millions of people? Do you think your house is going to cost less or more? Do you think it's going to be more? You're going to get paid less or more with more people? It's supply and demand. Why they can't see that, I don't know, but it's frustrating. So the story resonated with me. You ever notice how always global warming, for example, pushed by useful idiots, paid for by the financial elite? This story resonated with me. Okay, this is the story. So this lady, Betty Granger in Canada. And we don't need to push it. This is a small story. So she's a government official. She talks about how there was an Asian invasion of migrants coming to Canada. And this story resonated with me because my wife is Asian. She's the Asian invasion. But anyway, so this Betty Granger said, like, less jobs, more taxes, blah, because Canada has high taxes, as people know. The press and the colleagues, and this was, I think, in like the 60s, hammered her. They called her racist, xenophobe, all this stuff, all ignoring reality, just hammering on that quote, the Asian invasion. Granger's children, like me, married an Asian. So obviously she's not a racist. She has like Asian grandkids. But they keep beating her. And these normally mild-mannered Leafs, Canadians, they were like wolves to the slaughter, trying to rip this poor woman alive, dude. They beat her up emotionally, psychologically, so bad. Just like how people today, they say, I'm sorry for saying that, I wasn't educated. She voted to censure herself due to the depersoning plan on her. This similar tactic is used in Stalinist Russia, Maoist China, frightening everyone and everything to conform. And what did she do? She backed down. And now people are finally standing up a little bit, relatively. But still, this is why it's the same type of blue-haired, overweight, soy boy, soy girl person in these woke movements, because they have no confidence. If they get, they have power in this side. The media is on their side, social media is on their side, blah, blah, blah. They need to stay current with what the beliefs are, because they're terrified to be alone, to stay a stand, say, you know what? No, I don't believe this. It's not right. It's not. Like we all do. That's why all of us usually get along pretty well, because we all are brave enough to say, dude, I don't believe this. I don't think all white people are racist. I don't think all whatever, right? So this deep personing maneuver, though, just like politically correct came from the Soviets in the 20s, Maoist China did it, Stalin Russia did it, all these communists, which then it popped up in the feminist movement, totally coincidentally. So in 1980, the USSR had a group of women writing a feminist magazine. The USSR deported them to West Germany, the home of political correctness. Knows how deadly this division can be, and hence why they export. Isn't that insane? So the Soviets had girls writing a feminist magazine, and they deported them to West Germany, capitalist side, for anyone that doesn't know, because they knew how damaging feminism could be. Even though they created it. It was like a disease, and they shipped it off. The communist MO has always been deception, infiltration, subversion, destroying Western civilization, norms, traditions, and putting the new norms and traditions with the NWO, even though they don't know that. All right, we got a new lady. Let's see what she looks like. So Betty Goldstein, gross. Gloria Steinem, not great, but relatively better than Betty. Our next leader of feminism, Bella Dodd. Oh boy. We're back to ugly, everybody. We're back to ugly. When you are woke, your soul is just sad and gross, and it comes out. So Bella Dodd, she's the leader of the Communist Party in the U.S. in the 30s and 40s, a leader. In 1954, she wrote a book revealing how so she changed. Okay, I take back, she was ugly, a little prettier on the inside now. She wrote a book revealing how communism is a hoax to control the common man and advance tyranny. That was awesome, Bella. Good for you. She also headed the New York Teachers Union and Communist Party and their national council. So that's important, because even in the 40s and 50s, when the Red Scare was happening, a lady was able to be a leader of the Communist Party and also the head of the New York Teachers Union. At least that stopped, right? At least we don't have any socialist communists in our teachers unions anymore. We got rid of those, huh? So her book was remained out of print, impossible to come by. Wonder why why? That's so weird, right? She's calling out communism as a hoax. Shockingly, they can't print her copies of the book. She describes communism as a strange cult whose goal is destruction of Western civilization, and how innocents are tricked and talked of helping the poor, but that's not what communism is about. It's about power. Example, again, history. BLM, we're helping the black community. They deserve, and again, there's many things of BLM that I agree with. The CIA and billionaires have destroyed the black community with welfare, with drugs, with rap music. And so you can get, some of them are a step behind. Then BLM comes in and takes it to a whole new level. So BLM, who was just in the news for doing a nice money laundering trick, the leader, the house she bought cost she paid $6 million for it. Well, first of all, she stole funds that people donated. So that's bad. What's even worse was she had her friend buy that house a week prior for 3.1 million, and she bought it for 6. I'm not a banker. Sounds like money laundering to me of some sorts, something corruption in some way. But what do I know? I could be totally wrong. Just crazy. She bought the house for double the price 5 days later. So Communist Party operates by infiltrating and subverting social institutions, churches, schools, media, government. She also revealed, Bellows' boss lady, revealed that Communist Party had 1,100 members that became Catholic priests in the 1930s. Nowhere is safe from this subversion, everyone. No one. Nowhere. No group, nothing. Also taking over teachers' unions and colleges. Shocking. Dodd realized that there would be no family but the party in the state. She also created the forerunner of today's feminism, supposedly focusing on peace and rights, but really, it's like 1984. War is peace, slavery is freedom. That's exactly what this is. This is exactly what the Communist Party is. It's exactly that. But it's a way to control the women of the country. Feminism is. FDR in 1933 recognized the Russians as a government. Many Americans complained. The press covered for FDR, saying this is a witch hunt. They are good people. Sure, 10 years prior, did they have enough blood that it was backing up the sewers of the royal family? Was there 2 feet of coagulated blood in the hallways of all the people they killed? Guys, revolutions are good. That's good. So again, the press runs cover for all these people. They changed. Loony right-wing nuts. I put that in quotes. I think I'm saying that's what the press would say. All these loony right-wing nuts. They keep harping that the Bolsheviks slaughtered innocents and killed hundreds of thousands. They're loony right-wing nuts. It was just a crazy time. It was a big party. Kremlin archives were opened and confirmed that Communist Party USA was an agent of the Moscow and the big dogs. And the big dogs in FDR's administration were fellow communists. Alger Hiss, Harry Dexter, White, so many more. All these people were communists in FDR's administration. And the Communist Party assumed the response of the working class, responsibility of the working class. We're the workers' man's right. We're here. Did the workers' pays increase? Oh my God. I'm sorry, guys. Thank you. It's my hand hit the button. I muted for everybody. So I just was saying Communist Party in the 40s, 50s, it did nothing. That was where I stopped. And I said in FDR's administration, communists, Alger Hiss, Harry Dexter, many more, all in his administration. And this like capitalist. Hopefully everyone can hear me now. Just if you guys put like, yes, you can hear me. Because now I'm nervous. I'm just gonna be deaf or you're not gonna hear anything the whole time. String, I've had Johnny on. I love Johnny Cerrucci. He's such an awesome guy. All right, where's the where is the where's my screen share here? I want to show another person. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right. Sorry, guys. I know I'm getting a little distracted here. Okay. So I just said how the Roosevelt had communists in it. So the financial elite during the war opened an agency called the Russian Institute on Park Avenue. Now that's weird. Why you're opening a Russian institute during this Cold War of your enemies, but okay. And who funded that communist group? The Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, the Harrimans. But they're capitalists. They hate communism. That's what maybe like an uninformed idiot would say. Oh, I don't mean an ignorant person would say, but we know that they're one in this. They are communists. That's what they are. They're corporate socialists. But yeah, so they funded a communist propaganda agency. Do they get in trouble? No, because the CIA, they control it. Names like Vanderbilt, Whitney, Morgan, all rubbing elbows with the propaganda makers they are financing. Communist Party, the United States, make a big push for Earl Browder, who he was hanging out with FDR's cabinet, but the timing was not right for the NWO push. So they depersoned Browder. He became a left-wing nut and his power is gone. So this is something that we all see, right? Now not so much because were so far down the path of their NWO goal, but at this time they made mistakes before. Like Napoleon, he was propped up to get into power. He took power and then he said, dude, I'm king. That's it. And they lost control and they realized, damn it, we shouldn't have done the French Revolution yet. We should have waited. So they put this guy at Earl Browder, the Communist Party. They realized America wasn't ready for it. And so then they said, oh, we're not all like him. He's a nut. He's a nut. We're not like that, but they are, you know. So it also probably didn't help that the economy was coming off of 2 wars that bumped the economy. And they realized, let's not do our communist push yet. The NWO thought this because let's start another fake war, guys. Fake war? Let's do it. Let's build up our arsenal and getting billions of dollars of American taxpayer money. He said, that's a good idea. Let's do that. So Bella Dodd was told the future of the company, the Communist Party, wouldn't just be opposed to government, but also to U.S. workers. How did she know? She must be making all of this up. She's totally lying. Dodd realized she was on the side of destroying her own country. She tried to quit. This was so huge. So Bella Dodd, I'm sorry for calling you ugly. You are a champion. You are an awesome person. You stepped up and you spoke out, which I respect so much, especially when that's like one of us, which would never happen because it's not right. But one of us coming and said, I was wrong. Jeff Bezos is an amazing man. The Democrat Party is the lifeblood of this country. And I was wrong. But she did that. So she tries to quit the Communist Party. No one gets out of the party. That's what she was told. You die or you are thrown out. Dodd was eventually expelled from the party for being quote unquote anti-African American. I almost said NEGRO, PR, I guess anti-Hispanic, anti-Semitic, anti-labor, and defender of the landlord. Now that's some critiques to hit somebody with. You like the landlords. You're out of our party. See, even then, though, the communists were pushing this race utopia type of thing. Like if you're, because that's what they need. They need division. So it was essentially a smear campaign on Miss Bella, and these tactics haven't changed. So, of course, after 20 years of tireless service, she had alienated any regular friend, family member, everyone, because when you're in these ideological groups, as you guys know, you come at anybody that maybe has a regular opinion, you beat the hell out of them by saying and call them names, say how evil they are. And it alienates people. You alienate your family and friends. And that's what they want you to do. They want you to alienate everybody, any family, any blood, any friends that you love, and replace that with the party, with the Communist Party, with the government, with the state. And that's what happened to her. She lost everybody. And now she has no one to turn to. The party's smearing her. And this is how cults operate. This is how mental enslavement of mankind operates. You push away family, You have this created group, ideological group most times. That's your family. So now, kind of again, this is like the LG community. You come out, you say, I'm whatever, non-binary or whatever. Oh, you are so strong. We're so proud of you. We love you. We love you. Maybe you develop all these friends. You push away anyone that's maybe your family who doesn't accept your life decisions. And then 3 years later, because you were only 14 at the time, you say, oh my God, I was a kid. I was just lost. Well, you better not, you'll be alienated. You'll be smeared. You will lose that's how cults keep their members. That's what they do today. Dodd was told to phone 2 multimillionaires in Waldorf Towers if she ever lost contact with Moscow in the 50s. Now, why are multimillionaires communists? She suspects the Communist Party, United States leader, because the leader killed themselves. We know they didn't. So during the Spanish Civil War, this was huge. Americans donated money to load a ship with medical supplies and food to Spain because there was a civil war going on and they wanted to help. And Americans are kind people. You and me, we are a great country. We are so giving and so kind. They put all this together. Did it get to Spain? No. The communists, the worker people, the backing of the working class diverted the ship to Russia instead. Communism is a deceitful system of international predator class control. The workers have all the power. It's the working class. We own the means of production. Dude, it's so annoying. Oh my God. Like these left wing, like people like me, streamers, like they're always slovenly. They look disgusting. They're degenerate. They're talking about degenerate things. Like that's what this woke agenda is. It's listening to carnal desires, not what what you should live as a Christian. Carnal desires was what rules you. If it feels good, you can do it. You can do it. And that's harder to not to act like that. So communism morphed into the new left or the progressives and often had the exact same ideology as other progressive groups: women's liberation movement, counterculture movement, civil rights movement, labor movement, Zionist movement, gay rights movement. They all have the same core beliefs. It's just their side is that's maybe the number one thing, but they all have. Why do they all believe the same thing? Why do all, a workers group, a civil rights group, a women's liberation group all believe in open borders, which notoriously would not be beneficial to a minority group, to allow another minority group to come in and replace the focus on your group, but they all believe it. Why would you guys get it? Communism was a plot designed to substitute the rule of God for a cabal of super rich predators. It's all about peace and brotherhood and equality. All lies. Feminism and communism are the same bird of origin and spirit. Oh, this is crazy. Our world's just so insane, right? Vagina Monologues. All right, so maybe you guys have heard of the Vagina Monologues. I remember as a kid hearing that because the word vagina is in it. And I'm sorry, I don't think that's a bad word. So I remember, oh my God, I didn't even look at my note. That's exactly right, because it had the word vagina, which in 2001 was a pretty loud statement to make. To call something in 2001 the Vagina Monologues, that's going to get attention. Do you remember it? I knew nothing about it until now. So let me explain to you what the Vagina Monologues is about. Well, basically, it's a public reading of explicit lesbian pornography. And the vagina, it's all about women's rights, though. It's a pornography, but it's about women's rights. So the play has this woman, and she's talking to their vaginas, shouting the word C-U-N-T. And what if it could talk? And it literally got so big, these monologues, she was talking to other women's vaginas in front of 18,000 screaming audience members in Madison Square Garden. Another monologue, another story of talking to about your private parts was about a 12-year-old girl who's babysat by a 24-year-old lesbian. She allowed her to explore her sexuality with her. I'd call that statutory rape, but according to the Vagina Monologues, that's a feminist and empowering move. So weird. again, how the left is literally demonic. But I'm old fashioned. I'm old fashioned. Maybe that's cool. So it talks about stories of with kids amounting to basically this play. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. How empowering to do that to a 6-year-old. Oh, the one monologue was asking a 6-year-old what her private smells like. An adult asking her this. She said hers smells like snowflakes. And I could go on and on and on, but this is exactly what this monologues was. These stories that I just said, statutory rapish, sexual deviancy, pedophilia at worst. Is that empowering women? Is that going to make women's lives better in America to have a 12-year-old girl and to commit statutory rape with her? To tell a 6-year-old to show her your private parts if she shows you hers? I mean, we see this in the schools. Evil Knievel says, where's the penis monologue? Hilarious, dude. Hilarious. Evil, get on it. I'll go to your play. I'll promote it. Get on working on the penis monologue. But this was, 2001, this monologue came out. And I'm sure there was uproar a little bit, but then you'd be called the sexist. So we see what happens if no one says something. If all of us do we just want to be left alone? You will lose. We will lose. If we just say, oh, I just want to be left alone, you will lose every single time to a group or an ideological stance that is on the attack. And that's why we've waited most of us are younger. And even the older people, I'm sure you guys stood up, but that's why I can't be silent anymore, because we will lose. We will lose everything we hold dear. And the majority, we are the majority. I know it. I know we are. Maybe not conspiracy per se, but people that are normal and rational, logical, not freaks. That we know this is wrong. Talking to a 12-year-old, touching them, right? But look where it's ending. It's in schools now. It's not just in a play that you have to buy. So you think the press said any of these reactions that I just had, these toxic male reactions, sounds like you're a pedophile. Sounds like you are touching a 6-year-old girl inappropriately. No. They didn't say. What do you think the press said? Oh, no. It's spellbinding and funny. The Washington Post especially loved it. Moving, empowering. Even Meryl Streep, Jane Fonda, and other guests performed the monologue. Ensler, that's the person who wrote this book, Eve Ensler, she eventually came out because she was sexually abused by her father. And there is a very high correlation between this and wokeness, abuse and not traditional sexual values. I don't know. That's the best way I can say that without crossing any lines. So she told Time that the patriarchal nuclear family is a deadly institution. David agrees. David said, it's too late to be left alone. It's time to take the offensive. I agree, David. And whatever that means, I'm not encouraging people to go, no, I'm just saying when people say things, challenge them. We can't be afraid anymore. We can't, because are just saying, oh, just let me live my life in peace. It's over, dude. They're coming for our peace. So we need to let other people, show people that we have the courage to say, I don't believe that's right, because other people feel that way too, but they're terrified to say it. So Eve Ensler, the lady who wrote this monologue, told Time magazine that she was abused, that the patriarchal nuclear family is a deadly institution. Oh, and what group said they wanted to get rid of the nuclear family earlier? Oh, so communism said that. And now feminism says that. So weird. Prior to the sexual revolution, women insisted on marriage, family, heterosexual behavior. After the sexual revolution, men and women engaged in promiscuous sex, which had been more prevalent in the homosexual community at that time. So look how much fun and amazing time we're having with all this sex. Oh, that's how you live life. You bang anything that moves. What do we see in movies, TV shows? I'm taking too long. So anyway, did the V monologues mention love? Did they say anything about love in this whole book? Play? No, not once, except focusing solely on sex. Like, I love sex. I guess inappropriately. Oh, that's it. That's it. Not once love. Not once love. Oh, David said, yes, not violence. He's talking about confrontation. And dude, I don't have a kid yet, David. So I don't know what your spot, like what that's like yet. I can't, but it must be terrifying, dude. And good for you. So domestic violence, that's a big feminist push, right? Men today, we risk jail, legal bills, loss of family, house, job, if they argue too loud with their wife. And I'm an anti-yeller. I never raise my voice. I may raise my voice twice in my life. So, and this sounds like an exaggeration. And hit on women. I'm not making that at all. No. Allow me to elaborate. So domestic violence, this is a result of a widespread zero tolerance policy. Now, this sounds great, right? Women, again, it's a Trojan horse. No one should be hit, especially a woman. No one should be abused. But its real purpose, as everything the predator class does, is far more sinister than protecting women, right? So this emasculates men, persecutes the heterosexual dynamic. The Rockefellers love instituting policies that make heterosexual relationships as tough as humanly possible, because that's how you break down our society and you lower the population. Now, stress with families and life is a totally normal thing. I already talked about that. Well, say you really have a vindictive partner. Okay. You have a total crazy person you have a kid with, whatever. You love them, but they're crazy. Say they call the police. They say, you're beat me or whatever. They call the police. What do you think will happen? You're going to jail. They're taking you away in cuffs at minimum. They'll book you. Maybe you'll get out, but you're screwed over. You're leaving the back of the cop car, 95% of it. And now there's countless examples of false charges and claims that ruin someone's life. Any penalty? Johnny Depp. This is so relevant. Johnny Depp. I haven't watched a trial, but basically that Amber Heard, she pooped on his bed. She's a psychopath. She's a total psychopath. She tried to secretly get in fights with him and record with him. He lost Pirates of the Caribbean. His career is over. Maybe he'll get a movie here or there, not at Disney. So this is what this zero tolerance policy has created. Perfect example. And there's countless examples of this, not just famous people. So this policy also it's twofold Rockefeller move. It also gets people accustomed to having the police interfere in their personal lives. And that's all for a martial law. That's perfect. The author who wrote this book, he has a 1,200 man police force in Winnipeg, and it's purely dedicated to domestic violence. That's a lot of tax dollars for domestic violence. A veteran lawyer of DV cases said 10% of his cases, only 10, fit the profile of a chronic wife beater, the guy that we should put in a wood chipper. But the rest, they were usually, whatever. And so police, all these events, they're called to diffuse the situations. Instead, male's fingerprinted, gone, no matter what, missing work, jobs. So compare this with a bar fight between two men. Now, unless it's super intense, you're going to jail. But, you guys push each other, your friends calm you down. You're usually you got to leave the bar. You have to go home. You're too drunk, whatever. But why is it different with just a woman like this? Because there's an agenda behind it. And then you also have fake cases. Fake cases, what does that do? Well, that knocks up that ruins people that are actually being abused. How many stories do we have of women that are being stalked, being all these things? They report it to the police. They don't believe her. They do nothing more. She gets murdered. She gets hurt. She gets abused because there's so many fake cases that because of this zero tolerance policy, real cases aren't taken seriously. And this was an interesting statistic. The rate for spousal homicide in America is 1 in 4 100th of a percent. So 1 in 4 100th of a percent. So 0.00025 or something like that, depending on race, can fluctuate, but very low. But that's why the zero tolerance policy isn't to protect women. In fact, it's not for women. It's to break down the family. So whose plan is this? Who wants communism so bad that they will sneak it on the backs of any seemingly positive movement. And we know secret societies, Illuminati, Skull and Bones. It's who we talk about always on this show. And their goals have always been to erect a new world order, dissolving all social ties, nation, religion, race, family, promising a golden age of utopian living. Now, what does that sound like? A golden age utopia? Well, it's the NWO. It's the New Age movement. It was the Josh and Dave were talking in the chat about Q movement. It's that Nasara Jasara. This is all the utopia isn't on earth. We can make it as great as we can, but the utopia is in heaven when you die. These people that run these things, they're not going to heaven. So they want to create a utopia, communist utopia, where they're at the top. We're all in obeying orders because we won't get food or we'll be canceled, depersoned. And they want to transhumanism so they live forever and never have to see their maker and be punished for these evil things they did. Adam Weishaupt, the leader of the Illuminati, the creator, urges followers to practice the art of counterfeiting. And here's a beautiful quote. And the Illuminati secret societies have had a hand in every single progressive movement for the past 200 years. But he says, men are the easiest to make. Oh, I'm butchering it. Damn it, guys. I wrote it down. Anyway, let's continue. So the Illuminati, the bankers, the demon worshippers, they use sexual liberation to subvert society. And they did it great. We corrupt in order to rule. That was in a Masonic magazine written by Giuseppe Mazzini. But after centuries of planning revolutions, they kept failing. You cannot go for the home run right away. I just talked about this. You have to go a slow, patient method. The secret societies learned was the better, more certain path. The chat. Oh, phew. All right. Hopefully you guys didn't lose me too much. So anyway, sexual liberation was brought by these people to screw the society, essentially. So liberalism, feminism, socialism, communism, all backed by the bankers. Why? Because it's easy to join a group that says, do what feels good. Life is better if you're in this group. Sex rocks. Free sex makes you feel good. Marriage, that's the man trying to hold you down. That's the patriarchy holding you down. They don't want you to have fun. I mean, this stuff's really demonic, right? And I love, so one, it's demonic. Like the man doesn't want you to have fun. That's why he wants you. Society tells you to get married and have kids. Isn't that funny that this is what little kids think? Because of propaganda. I even thought that, especially like my drug usage. I used to think, oh, society just does, you can drink alcohol, but you can't shoot heroin. You can't smoke. Like, dude, society's just a bunch of puritanical people. But you can see the Luciferian doctrine in us. Do what thou wilt. Do what thou wilt. That's what this is. The sexual liberation movement, the woke movement. It's do what feels good, not the hard choice, not the moral and ethical path. So they convinced everyone that marriage, boring, banging as many people as you want until you're all alone at 50 and nobody wants to touch you. That's the life to live. That's how you have fun. That's it. That's you're living, having sex with a new woman every week. Wow. Think of all that fun, the drinking. Sure. Maybe you'll be like at 50 wondering why you don't have a partner to help to stay with you. But anyway, a real society, one that actually cares about its people, one that if you ran a society and you wanted the best, best country, a strong empire, you are propagating values that helps build that empire for future generations. You aren't saying, oh, we became the greatest superpower the world has ever seen. Change it. Let's go the other way. See what happens. No, you wouldn't do that if you were an honest person trying to create the best empire in the world. I just say this as an example to show that these people are evil. And these older generations that created this women are honored for nurturing and educating the young. So what did the bankers do? They were honored. They got fulfillment and value. The bankers disparaged women's roles as wives, as mother, to promote free sex, this liberating thing. And again, you're chipping away the strength of the family. When sex is free and easy, men are less likely to be married and be faithful and have children. And sex is natural. It's like eating food, but because of the feminist movement and propaganda, people are obsessed with sex. What's up, Jesse? My dog. What up? You're coming in perfect time and we're talking sex. That was like a weird joke. I don't even know what that means. All right. So people are obsessed with sex, and I was too. Younger and younger kids look at porn. They mimic their favorite celebrities, songs, movie stars. A marriage based on sexual attraction alone is not going to last at all. But yet we encourage children to search for the most sexually appealing person at all costs. This is propaganda. Gravy, you missed it. Yes, the V monologues, and Evil Knievel's going to write a P monologue for it, and we're going to read it on the show. But yeah, so we promote sex. Like, how many women have OnlyFans? Sex is everywhere, guys, and younger these kids see it. This has never been done before. I know you guys know, like, never before in the case of human history did 10-year-olds have access to millions of hours of hardcore pornography. You think that's going to be good for their brain? Oh yeah, I'm sure it's wonderful. So now all these women have OnlyFans. The men pay them and say, "Oh, you're so sexy," or whatever they say. Is this love? This woman will struggle finding an honest, good man to marry. Will that last? Will that these surface, compliments? Will that fulfill you? And also remember, short shelf life, and the competition is fierce. But propaganda, all these girls on Twitter or Instagram, go to my OnlyFans, you're encouraging other young women to start OnlyFans. And in 10 years, those pictures are out forever. Good luck trying to find an honest Christian man to marry you. And it doesn't need to be Christian, but an honest, good man. No, you'll get a bunch of sleaze bags that are probably disgusting, greased up and living in their parents' basement and eat McDonald's every day. You'll get them. But this is the scam. This is the scam they've been chipping away since the 60s and the free love movement. Socrates said when he no longer had a sex drive, he was released from the jaws of a wild beast, because sex is important to procreate. It's needed to continue our society, and you make one of the most beautiful thing that can you create life. You create life, and that is amazing. But that is what sex is for. Beyond that, yes, obviously it feels good, and you can have sex with your loved one, whatever. Without trying to make a baby. That's totally normal. That's your loved one. It's another dimension of your love. But to make it that it's the only thing that feminism has done, is that pushing up women? Is that helping them to tell them to have sex with everything, to show naked? Feminism has pushed women's rights backwards. Back in the Bible, ancient times, women could be a mother or a prostitute, pretty much a slave. What are they now? What's the push? Be a social media star. What do you do that? You have to sell promiscuity of yourself. You have to sell your body. We've gone backwards. Congratulations. Oh, David, that's such a perfect point. Catch Me Outside. You guys know Catch Me Outside. How about that? The girl from Dr. Phil, she started OnlyFans the day she turned 18. And this year, that was like earlier or whatever, she made $56 million. America and the world is obsessed with sex because of the feminist movement and the free love movement, all CIA created. Modern women and men are victim of a monstrous hoax perpetuated by the secret societies. Women have been stolen this honored role that people valued, this essential role, to that of sex objects and worker drones. And they try to convince younger and other women this is how you're free and independent. If you sell your body or you don't get married, you'll be locked down. But most of these women, you'll find out, especially as they get older, are lonely, bitter, and desperate because they've been tricked and it's too late. They're 40 years old. They're childless. They don't have a husband. They're going to the bars, partying. They're lost because they were tricked. Helen Gurley Brown. Oh, a morally degraded people and a weak people, which pornography and prostitution and all these things are, they're the easiest people to control. And that's why they all are the same. Helen Gurley Brown. Well, Helen Gurley Brown, she helped dismantle women. You know, I bet this is what the lady who's like from Sex and the City was mocked, was like modeled after, I think. So she, in 1965, she was the editor of Cosmopolitan. She wrote, "Housewives are a parasite, a dependent, a scrounger, a bum." Brown calls housewives parasites, but champions prostitution or whores. It's not an agenda, right? Feminism just wants to better the women's lives. Yeah, calling a housewife a mother, a parasite for a huge magazine that millions of people read, especially in the 60s, manipulating girls, young teenagers' minds. So the magazine you love calls your mom a parasite. What do you think you're going to do? What do you think you're going to do? You're already told to rebel against your parents at this age because of TV and movies. And now your cool magazine tells you that your mom's a parasite. Helen shaped the minds of millions of women. And at 8 and 18 in 1941, Helen joined an escort service doing sexual acts with men as old as 50. Then she became a secretary with the understanding she would sleep with the married boss and he would take care of her in return. She claimed no one told her to avoid certain mistakes, so she wanted to teach others the mistakes she made. She was able to reach a huge audience, helping change the female mentality from devotion of love as a mother to a calculating predator. Do we have that today? Yeah, women are just as rough as the men, and they shouldn't be in it. But the innocence is what's a feminine quality. That's why we get along. Like we're yin and yang, delicateness, and yeah, you guys get it. We're the hunter there, and again, I'm saying this like not to be history. We've been the hunter. They've been the gatherer, the person there, the delicate one that needs to be protected while they take care of the house, these kind of things. It's a reason why this worked for thousands of years, because everyone has their role to play. So what Helen here basically told, what they tell, sex is the best thing in the world. Sex is the pinnacle of society. It is the best thing we have. So we platform these people that say this, and the CIA does, and you encourage young women who maybe are lost, who had a bad relationship with their father, who are self-conscious, et cetera, go this route, destroying their lives, but they don't know it yet. Helen also gave the great advice: never sleep with someone who has less money or more troubles than you. Office romances and sleeping with the boss is fine. Just be discreet. Is this what feminism is? A leader of feminism. Is this better the lives of women? Stealing wives and mothers who are honored and put them in a corporal world to sleep with the boss? You are swapping them until death do thee part for a boss who pays services and will fire you in the downturn. And again, the 1952, the Rockefellers controlled $250 million in media advertising. Their papers, networks hyped up our girl Helen, our other people we talked about, and sex and the single girl. Millions of girls were encouraged to take her advice and change values that we had for thousands of years. She was childless. She was a commie as well. Her friend, Commie Betty Friedman, who was a CIA agent, Commie Betty Friedman, Gloria Steinem, the CIA agent, and Helen Gurley Brown formed the three powerful modern feminist pioneers. Imagine if a sick cell of an organism, let's see how many pages we got left. Oh, boys, we got a little bit left. Holy crap. All right, I'm going to pick out some things that are good here because there's a lot of awesome stuff that I still got to get to. Okay, so imagine like if sick cells of an organism, like sick ones, in your body, whatever, they convince the others that they are the healthy ones and the healthy ones are sick. Is this organism going to prosper? Is it going to live its full life, or will it get sicker and sicker and die? I think that metaphor accurately depicts what is going on in this world, in America especially. Um, 65% of same-sex relationships end with cheating. And there's countless other statistics and all these, but I say this because the homosexual movement, it shares similar values as the feminist movement. So I bring up this high cheating percentage because the feminist movement also encourages that kind of free love behavior, doing what feels good, not what's right. So Playboy, men, this is a Playboy chapter here. So what kind of a man reads Playboy? Because this isn't I'm not trying to beat on women's beliefs at all. Men are just as culpable, if not more culpable. They watch, they support. So men that are obsessed with sex and choose partners solely on appearance, he thinks that women and children are a burden. Is this choosing the Christian way or the way that feels good? So Playboy was started in the 50s. Who funded it? The same people. Secret society, bankers, Luciferians. By 1972, 3/4 of all male college students got their ideas of masculinity from Playboy. We can immediately see the issue when you get your idea of how to act from a nationally huge propped up magazine, just like this lady here, Helen Gurley's magazine for girls, Playboy is for boys. If that's what you think a man is what is in Playboy, you are going to be very lonely in life. Hugh Hefner got his inspiration to start Playboy in 1953 from the Kinsey Report. And the Kinsey Report was this failed and manipulated report from 1953, Alfred Kinsey. And Alfred, he was a homosexual. He cruised around Times Square. This is insane. And talking to people. And he said 25%, he said that a large percentage, he said 10% of the American public was gay. Really, it's more around 2% now. This book was written a few years ago. That's definitely higher. But 25% of his sample size were prostitutes and sex offenders. So that's going to skew your data. The whole thing, he proved that children, this is sick. This is a guy that helped inspire Playboy. Children have legitimate sexual needs. Him and his buddies abused 2,000 babies and got data from Nazi concentration camp. And Kinsey put on this face that he was this conservative family man. He actually died of ocritis, which is a disease associated with insane amounts of masturbation, self-mutilation, degenerate stuff. And he would seduce male students, force his wife and friends to perform homemade porn films. So that's the guy that inspired Hugh Hefner. Birds of a feather. Hugh said the Kinsey Report produced a tremendous sexual awakening in him because of the large media attention. Oh, I'm sure it wasn't just Hugh. It was probably all younger people. So many younger people. Dude, Gravy Show, that's exactly what I'm about to get to. Gravy said they want women more like men and men more like women. The inversion is real. And wait, dude, I got a crazy thought experiment for you guys that's going to blow your gosh darn mind. Okay, so Kinsey Report, Playboy took the sexual freedom to the American male. And in the 50s and 60s, sex was safe for marriage. But now you're displaying naked women everywhere for male pleasure. Is that a feminist goal? No, it's not in my mind. But shockingly, radical feminists and Playboy found common ground in the hatred of the nuclear family. So did the communists. So they're just trying to convince the world that the heterosexual marriage nuclear family is sick. This is about, I'm just skipping, looking for, and so we talked about schooling, how the teachers are insane these days. There's so many videos, blah, 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 blah. Well, they put these communist people into power, these radical feminists into power. They teach promiscuity, just like the Vagina Monologues was talking about in 2001. And we have in schools where 12-year-olds are being taught about oral sex and anal sex. And in the excuses, promoting a more inclusive environment. A feminist agenda, a woke agenda. This is the inclusive environment is sexualizing children. That's what it is, because communists want to remove all differences, this genderless, ageless utopia, and and this Luciferian agenda. That's why communism is literally a Luciferian doctrine. Meanwhile, you have people that just want to be left alone that we talked about earlier, or the masculine men that maybe, and women, strong women that say this is wrong. They're toxic, they are sexist, and they stay quiet because they are terrified of what's going to happen to them. Example, in 2000, think of any movie, right? But American Wedding, a movie aimed at teenagers who probably, I think it's an R-rated movie, American Wedding, and it's aimed at kids that aren't even old enough to see the movie. That's the humor in it. It was in 2000. It's an R-rated movie that has grandma having sex with one of the grooms, the bride performing fellatio under the table in a crowded restaurant. It's insanity. This is created by the financial elite to decrease population, to destroy the family, which then the state will get your kid, and their propaganda will get your children, which will get the next generation. And then it's over. So the question is, will the majority of society, the 96%, allow the 4% minority to dictate, to persecute, to change everything for that 4%? And that's what's happening. That's what's going on. The 96% that is relatively sane and logical and normal are being dictated by the predator class and by this 4% minority class that will cancel you if you step out of line. And where do you think this goes? The goal is they want kids. They want to sexualize kids. That's where this ends. In back to you, Hefner. So in 2004, Hugh, a lady did like an interview that lived with him. He pays his girls $2,000 or paid a week to be his girlfriend. They'd have sex every Wednesday or Friday, use Viagra. He would have porn on while he had these concubines with him. And it's just the porn industry. I know we already talked about it, but it's just so, you know how much money the porn industry generated in 2021? If anyone's in the chat and has a guess, tell me how much money the porn industry generated in 2021. I'll give you 1 second here while I take a sip. The porn industry in 2021 generated $12 billion in revenue, more revenue than ABC, NBC, and CBS combined. I think combined. But more, $12 billion. So on profits alone, if you run a movie, if you throw some porn in there, sex sells. And it is everywhere. But beyond profits, sexualizing commercials, whatever. I've seen crazy stuff that would never been okay before. But put profits aside, we know these elite people are not just interested in profits. It's a psychological operation. Sex is included in every new show or series. I mean, how many TV shows do we watch that have sex, like Game of Thrones? I like Game of Thrones. Do I need to watch them banging? Does that make this show better? Why do they do that? Why do you think they do it? Do you feel you're watching Game of Thrones with your parents and they're Khaleesi being raped by the Dothrakis or whatever? Is that a good feeling to have with your parents there? So why do they do it? Why do they do it? Because it's a psychological operation. Sex, 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 sex. Flashing lights, sex, sex. That's what they want. That's what they want. They want you to think about nothing else but sex. More depraved, the better. Porn warps the minds of young men and women. Females are basically taught they are only useful for one thing, and that's not loving a marriage. That's repressing. To be a mother, a homemaker. That's repression. Free sex. That's freedom, baby. But think, the porn, like the bodies are exactly the same. It's just tons of private parts. So men, they will spend hours watching porn, but they're all relatively the same. They got the same parts, it's the same thing. Why are men able to watch this, and women, for hours every day, multiple times a day? Because it's an addiction. Just like opiates are an addiction, pornography is a serious addiction. That's why there's guys that will watch porn. I mean, I used to watch pornography. I stopped like 2 or 3 years ago, but you keep scrolling, looking for a clip, and you feel disgusted the moments it's done. It's a drug it's a free drug that they're unleashed. It's harder to buy a vape on the internet than it is to get pornography for a child. It's harder to get an R-rated movie, which is R probably because of sex and language. You can watch you can have access to porn as a 10-year-old. Porn views after school goes out goes up 400%. And eventually they get conditioned like that's too vanilla or whatever that is, vanilla or whatever you want to call it. So children, why do you think the trends in porn? You have like incest porn, you have cucking, which means you like watch another man have sex with your wife. The kids go more and more intense because it doesn't do the same thing for them. So by the time they're 18, God knows what they're watching. God knows. And that's why the more taboo, the better. Do you see where this is going? You see where the communist and feminist and woke movements are taking us? Porn is one of the many weapons they have. They're going for the kids, my friends. They are going for the kids. They won't stop until financially they view us as animals, as cattle, as cattle, and they want to make us that way. They want to remove any sense of morals and values you once had and do whatever feels good, because that's how they can control you. Oh, thanks, Gravy. Gravy said this is such a necessary episode. Thanks, dude. That was so nice of you. So Betty, though, she was the cosmopolitan lady. Her mother was a psycho, essentially. Her dad was abused by the mom. And then Betty does the same thing. She threatens to castrate her husband. She beats her husband. And Betty was also Jewish, and she was preparing for her bat mitzvah. She told the rabbi, I don't believe in God. These people are demonic, dude. They don't have a God. They're not Christians. These people that lead these movements that propagandize everybody. If feminists and socialists and communists were really a threat to the establishment, like the CIA made us believe for 50 years, if they were a threat, just like the hippie music, how do they get $120,000 tenured salaries as an openly admitted communist or socialist? How would they be put in the news constantly? Commercials, articles, magazines. They don't realize, these people realize, the leaders of the feminist movement, but the followers of it, they don't realize they are doing the totalitarian state's bidding. It's this cognitive dissonance. They don't understand. They think they're challenging the system and the status quo. They're going along with the virus that they are creating as the new status quo. Okay. Yeah. Feminism killed courtship on campus. Thanks to feminism and humiliation of courtship. You were being mocked. You hold the door open for a girl. That's sexist. That's disgusting. Girls don't need to worry about flowers or dinner and a movie. It's been replaced with Netflix and chill, OnlyFans subscriptions. That's what feminism has brought. Did that give more rights to women? To have a man that has to earn your love for a marriage, to have sex with you, to see you nude or whatever you want to say, to be in a relationship at minimum? That's gone. Netflix and chill. Never see him again. And the market for this, like, if you today in the 60s, this was insane. In the 60s, you go to a bar or whatever, you ask a woman, can I buy you a drink? You do that. That goes on till the 90s. Go do that today. Go bring a drink over to a woman in the bar. Do you think they're going to say, oh, thank you for that? They're not drinking it because they've been taught that men are so evil. Date rapes are everywhere at every single bar. And yes, they happen. Yes, I'm not saying that. But I as a drug addict that did any drug, I never once, I even asked, not for that, just because it's good for sleeping, these date rape drugs. No one has them. So it's a totally another instance that's blown out, that's false claims, that someone got too drunk, was too embarrassed. They say they got date raped, etc. And yes, it does happen. But I'm just saying how the courtship is gone. It's Artemis. That's funny. And now, oh, Artemis, I didn't know you were a girl. So that's awesome insight. But yeah. So the market used to be marriage for sex. The market has collapsed due to feminism. Did this empower women? Again, this question I keep asking. Or did it just all put them in the same bucket as every other woman to have a nut and man to have a one night stand and then be dropped. And all these TV shows since feminism, they depict women as cattle, oppressed by their husband, but by undermining the natural identity, the the morality of fidelity, the chastity of inherent in family roles, feminism has robbed families of their natural identity and degraded them more than ever. More than ever. This Illuminati banker move to eliminate marriage and family. This was Aldous Huxley, who was an evil guy, I think a Fabian socialist. He wrote in 1932 in Brave New World, promiscuity was encouraged, marriage and family proscribed, and children born in state-sponsored hatcheries. That's where it's going, right, guys? State-sponsored hatcheries to maintain so you can have your slave labor force for the top dogs. That's where it's going. If we don't say, stop. Oh, and Artemis, I think you're talking about I was just saying about the drink thing, like just that courtmanship is over. You're right. Would I take a drink from somebody? Hell no. I don't know them, but I'm just saying, like, I hopefully you guys understood my point. I'm not, please, nobody go to a bar if you go to bars and take a drink that's offered, that's brought over to you. Please do not. Please do not. Okay, now this is the last like big point. We got about 15 more minutes. So children are being introduced to sex younger and younger. It used to be like a period was the first step for a girl into womanhood. And now womanhood consists of how many sleeping part and manhood. How many girls did you bang? That's the apex. Feminist empowerment has led to female debauchery and male debauchery. And again, this isn't a hit on women. Males are effing more stupid. Porn brain, coon brain, but I just want to, I have to keep saying that because this is not a knock on women in any way. It's a knock on feminism and progressiveness. So we are taught to equate self-discipline with repression. This was huge. Self-indulgence, on the other hand, is equated with liberation and self-impression. And we taught, Gravy, my boy, talked about the inversion. That is what this is. That's the star. That's why DC is a star. That represents the inversion. The tip of the star is the Capitol Hill. It's this mystery religion, this old 1,000-year-old religion that's taught in the secret societies. They want to invert everything that is good, God's natural order and laws. It's inverted, and that's why they have inverted. Self-discipline equals repression, while self-indulgence is liberation. When it's the truth, because when you hold an ideal and you hold values and morals, you are powerful. No one can stop you. The propaganda won't stop. Look at us today. We fight all of these things. That's why we have our community, because we have values and morals and beliefs that they can't manipulate. That's why they silence us. But people that say, oh, I just want to be happy and live free and do whatever I want, you're manipulated because you're living on your emotions and not a core set of beliefs and values. Jack, please explain why I shouldn't drink that drink is offered. Dude, that was a bad example. Artemis brought it. Definitely was totally right that was a horrible example. But DDXY2K, I don't want someone stealing you, buddy. I need you in the chat. And if you get that drink from that guy on the corner, God knows what's going to happen to you. So that was a horrible example. Thank you for making fun of me and disagreeing with me, because that's what we need. So anyway. All right. So I just have a few things that I really wanted to talk about. The message that are being pushed, are designed to make children unfit for marriage and parenthood. That's the goal of feminism and this woke progressivism. It is to make sure that you can't make a family when you get older, because your photos are all over the internet. You have had hundreds of sexual partners, so no honest man wants to deal with that. And the Bible is always right. Like, it always talks about all this stuff. People who fornicate like rabbits, you spread disease. Epidemics are created. And why do you think divorce rates are so high? Why do you think family units are being destroyed by divorce? Porn, huge one. Promiscuity, huge. Unfaithfulness, messaging women on the internet, paying prostitutes. This is all brought about by the feminist movement. Okay. Yep. And this is the last chapter that I really want to do. Yeah. Oh, perfect. Perfect chapter to end on. So TV commercials state that one third of all men suffer from erectile dysfunction due to high blood pressure for being fat and lazy, prostate cancer, or diabetes. And the culprit, again, is this woke feminist kind of movement, communist movement. It created a power struggle between the man and the women role. So men now need to take more of a female role out of fear of being toxic or a sexist. In the workplace, like a man can take orders from the boss who's a woman, that's totally fine. But at home, if he's just beat on by the wife, you see these men that are just broken and empty, and vice versa, the woman as well. These are because these gender roles have now been confused and chaos has ensued and propaganda, and no one knows where they stand. They both want to be the power, all these things, and men that plays a role in this problem with sex that are with marriage. Why Viagra is a multi-billion-dollar a year industry. So this is another result. So if men have ED, they would say, "Oh, take a Viagra." They're joked with, they're emasculated, they're mocked. But if a woman was barren or infertile, that's a very sad thing. And that's sad for even talking about. Why is that? Why don't men get the same support? Because you need to you need to create anger between the genders. You need to create conflict to separate us so we don't join forces together. If as a result of another CIA created op, the sexual revolution, marriage and family are a God-given path necessary for fulfillment for most people. A family as human beings is blamed as the issues that the sexual revolution created. They're so good at their propaganda. All this divorce rates, all of the single parent homes, all of the prostitution, blah, 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 blah. They say that's that's Christians' faults, or that's a family's fault, not the revolutions that they put into place. Marxist secret societies have changed the class warfare to make women think they are oppressed by the man. It's my fault that you are oppressed, or that you're a stay-at-home mom. I forced you. And so the men are the enemies. And Liv, before, when she had a shirt like feminism, or female is the future is female, and, down with the patriarchy and all this. Then her mom even wore like one of those vagina hats at a women's march. And now, thank God, Liv and I have broken out of the propaganda machine, and we have an equal but different roles in our house that are pretty clearly defined. And that's what that removes conflict. She used to think all men were evil because she's had bad experiences, propaganda, these same people that women look up to, young girls look up to. They confused her. And I'm lucky that we both grew together, but many people don't grow, and they will hate men forever, and they will live a very lonely life and keep alienating more and more people. They'll never, ever be what thousands of years of genetics and DNA has had them be. You wonder why you need to have 20 cats? Well, because you should have had kids if you were able to, and get married. But because you wanted to down with the patriarchy, and vice versa, man, you wanted to watch countless hours of pornography and support OnlyFans. This is why pets are becoming children for people, because they think kids hurt the environment, propaganda, et cetera, et cetera. So sex. See, I'm talking sex so much, it's popping out of my mouth here. All right. So back to the relationship with the father is also a big thing. And I don't want to get too much involved. Oh, these are big things. So we'll slow it up here. So this Marxist feminist sexual revolution, it's creating chaos, as we know. And men, out of fear of being called toxic or sexist, are happily going along with it. They all support a local small business, pornography, soy boy weenies. Stop watching porn if you are. Come on, you can do it. But the men, though, so they take on feminine attributes out of fear of protection of being canceled or yelled at. So a girl, the father and a girl, just like boys and their moms are huge relationships, girls and their fathers are very important, that will define the rest of our life. So if you make girls often date or marry someone that reminds them of their father. We've all heard that expression, and I think it's relatively true. I'm kind of like Liv's dad in some ways, different in other ways, but similar personalities. So if you make the men more feminine and you give them more feminine attributes, more less masculine attributes, those girls are going to marry a man or find men that remind them of their father, that are more feminine. So what does that do? Well, you're also blurring the line now. Do you really need a man? If men are evil, and your dad was a soy boy, feminine weenie who called himself a male feminist, you're going to look for somebody that shares those attributes most times. So what does that do? It either you're just making society the same, hating one self-hating, the other self-victimizing, or you will promote homosexuality, which is, if that's what you want to do, that's who am I to tell you no? But I'm just saying that this is huge. Isn't that crazy? And sorry, what's up, Weez Plato? I got your email, dude, just so you know. I know I'm horrible with my email, but thank you for sending it, dude. You're not such a nice guy. So isn't that a crazy thing, though? So you effeminate men, girls go to people that are like their father. You have this cycle here that they're creating where they're trying to create a genderless utopia. So you keep effeminating men, the cycle continues until we say no and stop that cycle and instruct our daughters and our children that it's okay to have more defined roles. Yeah. So last thing, sex, this effeminate, genderless utopia, feminism. Yes, they're progressive movements, but what are they deep down? They are pagan, Masonic, mystery Babylon programs to have people worship the sex of fertile young females. That's what society is about these days. Simping, which you guys know what simping means for a woman, like, oh, you're so beautiful, with no chance of reciprocating. It's an emptyless endeavor, but this is what the Masons and their secret societies worship, this fertile female goddess. That's what they're doing today. That's what they're creating today. They want to also invert everything, any traditional values, because inversion is what Luciferianism or demon worship is. They want to invert everything that we know in society. Artemis, as a woman, she says, flattery is okay. Simping is creepy. You heard it here, folks. Artemis, she knows what she's talking about, and I agree. Flattery, yes. Simping, no. If you are having problems simping, message me, and I will slap the heck out of you and get you back on the right thing. So we're secretly doing these rituals of mass sex for the Masons, for the demon worshipers. Hardcore porn is spewing in the streets like a sewage pipe. If it was literal sewage, which is metaphorical sewage, you would stop it. But this psychic sewage doesn't seem to bother anyone. Daily, men are bombarded with ads about extending their penis, or watch this young girl get sodomized. It's dehumanizing. It's making us animals. It's anti-human. The goal of this demonic religion, the NWO, the bankers, is to make humans cattle, predictable, controllable, manageable cattle or sheep. And they're winning. So what do we have to do? So why did feminism create? So I've seen the Rockefeller quote, like, oh, so they could tax the other part of the population. I believe that's true. I think it's also because of this sick agenda to invert everything. I also think once you have two tired parents, television educates the kid. That's who raises them. You order food because you don't have time to cook food. You don't eat dinner together because everyone's exhausted, and it alienates even your own family. The nuclear family is the last thing that they have to knock down, and we cannot let them. So what can we do? Stop watching porn. If you're young, find a wife or a husband that loves you, that's a good person. And they're out there, guys. You might not, they always say, like, the top sexual attractive person. No, that will fade as we get old and wrinkly. You find someone that you can love and that's one works hard with you and trusts you and all this stuff, all that stuff that you guys know. So last thing. just to prove that feminism is a cult, this religion. Lilith, do you guys know the story of Lilith in the Kabbalistic Gnostic Bible or tradition? It's that Lilith was the first female with Adam, and she refused to lie under Adam because she said that she should be on top. And Adam asked God why, and then Lilith left, and then she becomes like a succubus, stealing children and young men in the night, haunting them. And these stories started out like the 8th and 10th century. And she was basically a succubus, like having sex with men, stealing their soul. And Lilith is one of like the poster child of feminism. And I think that's a good metaphor to describe what feminism is. It's based off a demonic character, a literal demon that is stealing souls and children. And that's the poster child of your movement. I think that explains a lot about the movement. So thank you. We had an awesome audience. Artemis, David, Dee Dee, Weez Plato. Who else was here tonight? David, James. Just such great talk. Gravy Show, if you're still here, thanks for coming. Thanks for watching, guys. Follow me at Kojak Podcast. I got Revenge of the Cis guys on tomorrow. So that's exciting. I have Royce and yeah, I'm really excited for that. So it's going to be a fun show. So come here tomorrow, 8:30. He's a comedian, way funnier than me. Go follow me at Kojak Podcast. Go support the show if you can. Leave a review. I love you all. Be a man. Live by morality, by ethics. Stop taking degenerate choices. We all make mistakes, but each day is a new day to become better than the last. I love you guys. Much love. Talk soon. I'm Jack Allen from Conspiracy or Just a Coincidence. Peace.